Folks, big treat for us right now. We most of us know him from the Eagles, but from everything.
Solo albums and, just one of my favorite people of all time, a guy I got to know a little bit through the Stern Show, and one of the best guitarists ever.
And a new album out?
A new album called Analog Man out that I heard a little bit of the other day. The great Joe Walsh is joining the Nick and Artie show.
Welcome to the show, Joe.
Hi, you guys.
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Hey, Joe, first of all, I was at the show with the great Danny Filato the other night at the P.C. Richards Theater, and I heard amazing job, by the way. And
thank you.
I heard the song Analog Man and Lucky That Way. It's the only two tunes I've heard off the new record.
Right.
Really great stuff, man. How passionate are you about this whole analog digital thing? Does this generation just blow your mind with all
well, I just thought it was a good undercurrent to have on my album because, I'm kind of an analog guy.
Right.
I mean, I'm not an old hermit who came out of the woods, and I'm not saying analog's better. But I sure had to make some adjustments with this digital technology.
Right. As I'm sure everybody did from your generation. But you were always a guy that was known as being pretty progressive with the guitar, right? I mean...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You hot-wired your pickups.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how'd you come up with that?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know. I just got in there and...
Whatever that means.
Yeah, hooked wires up different and see how that sounded. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't.
The noise you make, the sound you create in Rocky Mountain Way, you use your mouth and your guitar for that? What's going on there?
Yeah. That's a speaker that's actually sealed in an enclosed box.
Right.
So you can't hear it, but it is a speaker.
Okay.
And then you stick like a piece of surgical tubing into the box so the sound comes out of the tubing.
Wow.
See? And then you put the tubing in your mouth and you talk with your mouth. Well, you don't talk. You hold your breath.
Yeah, it's like, well, why? You
move your mouth like you were talking, but you don't make any. There's no air, so there's no noise.
It's like a musical bong.
Yeah. So instead of your throat making noise, the guitar makes the noise, and so it sounds like there's a guitar
Who
talking.
came up with that?
I gotta hand it to you, Joe, because I mean, as you know, I've had some similar issues that you've had in the past. When you were, active, maybe partying a little bit, how the hell did you come up with that? That's pretty impressive.
Did you?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. A lot of things I came up with, I don't have a clue. Congratulations, though, Artie.
Thanks, Joe, man. I tell you,
I'm really proud of you, man.
Thanks, man. It feels good. A lot of guys like you were able to pull me aside, and it meant a lot to me, and say, if you get together and get your head together and get straight and do what you got to do, you're going to have a life you never thought you could have on the other side. And it really is true, man. I'm happier than I've been in a long time. So, and I appreciate you and your help, man.
Joe,
well, I've been there, and I know it's hard, but ain't it better?
Oh, it's a million times better. It's not even close.
Let me ask you, Joe. This is Nick. I'm not, I've never been an addict and stuff, but a lot of good music was made when people were doing drugs, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Did you find were you just as creative once you cleaned up, or were you like, wow, I don't understand how I came up with it?
Yeah, Nick, I'd have to say but not right away.
Right.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I had convinced myself pretty much that I couldn't do anything without a buzz.
Right.
And I underlined buzz. So I had to reprogram. I had to start from the ground up. I was terrified to play in front of people without a buzz.
Wow.
All kinds of stuff. And so I had to learn how to do all that stuff without a buzz, and I had to learn how to write music without a buzz, and that's tough because, you're working on a song and you want to party, you want to feel good, and you want to stay up late, but that's not an option.
Right.
So you got to learn to work in the daytime. And it just takes time.
Well, that means getting up before 2 in the afternoon.
Well, Joe has a great joke that he does. He did it in the set the other day. He said, in between songs, he said, I used to be a guy in a hotel where I'd ask for a go-to-bed call. Like I'd say, call me at 7 a.m. and tell me to go to bed.
Yeah.
And they would go, Mr. Walsh at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
go to bed.
Go to bed.
That was great. That's something else I wanted to bring up about you and your songwriting, Joe. You write funny, cynical songs. Your lyrics are funny. I mean,
you have comic roots in
yeah,
your
absolutely.
DNA.
Yeah, and on stage, if even in Eagles concerts when you take over, there's always laughs going on.
Yeah.
And
now, Nick, there's another thing. I never thought I would be funny sober.
Yeah, me neither.
All the fun was over, And gradually, I learned how to laugh sober.
Well, because I've been doing comedy for 25 years,
right?
And the first 10 years, I never had a drink before I got on stage.
Yeah.
But then I started getting bored. I'm out, I'm playing in the suburb of Chicago or Tennessee, and I notice it's the weekend and everybody's having a good time.
That's the problem. The boredom. Boredom is hard.
I started, I had a couple, and it freed me up. It helps me some nights, but other nights, if I'm in a bad mood and I have a couple, I can get ugly. So.
Yeah.
Right?
I've been there.
So yeah, I can't imagine like you being doing drugs and drinking all those years, and to be able to go up there completely, that's takes a lot of
play guitar and sing.
Yeah, that takes a lot of willpower, man.
Yeah.
Well, hats off to you.
But we're back and we're happy and we're healthy and I'm focused and more centered, and I'm writing sober, and that's great. And I'm playing good, so I'm back and.
Joe, good ain't the word, man. I was at that show the other night, man. It's you. You were on top of it. That's. I mean, last time I saw you live, Joe, was 1988 at the Ritz on East 11th Street. It was a benefit for the Hells Angels. and I got to tell you, man.
Were you sober for that one?
Neither one of us were. Joe wasn't, and neither was I. And the Hells Angels kind of took over the show. I was like 20 years old. I heard John Howard that morning promote it, and I went down there. And you were amazing, and it was fun and a great show, but in a different way.
Yeah.
But the other night, just like technically and everything you were doing, and you were having fun, riffing a little bit on the guitar, and it just was great to see, man, really.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you a little bit about the fact you brought up, being funny. You were great friends with John Belushi, who's a hero of mine for a lot of
I was.
Comedically.
Yeah.
And to me, for you two guys to hang out and be friends, you had to be somewhat funny, and he had to be somewhat talented musically to completely relate.
Without being bored with
without being bored with one another. And is that true? And are there any sweet Belushi story you might be able to share with us that you remember?
Yeah, I could tell you a couple.
Yeah.
Well, John was funny in Saturday Night Live and all, but the whole Blues Brothers side of him,
right?
He was a blues fanatic.
Yeah.
And he knew all of the old blues guys and Chicago blues, of course, and him and Aykroyd both were blues guys. So that's the Blues Brothers came out of that, and he was like he was a good musician, but he didn't really play anything.
Right.
He just sang. But that was always there, so we related on that level too. And when I was in Chicago, he would take me downtown, and we would hear these old blues guys that, I had to go look them up after I heard them. Some really guys
T-Bone
that were so obscure. But John and I, one time, we went into this restaurant in Chicago. He wanted to show me he wanted to show me Chicago.
Yeah.
And he wanted to show me a good restaurant. And we couldn't get in because we had jeans on.
Uh-huh.
And John offered the guy like $500 to get in. Nope, you can't come in with jeans on. And so John swears for a little bit, and then he starts huffing and puffing, and he says, I know what to do, I know what to do, I know what to do, I know what to do. And the next thing I knew, we had gone somewhere to some place that was open all night, like kind of like a truck stop. that he knew about. And the next thing I knew, I was in the alley, and he was spray painting my jeans with black paint. And he said, I don't care. I'm not even hungry. We're getting in. That's right. And so then, here, take this paint. And he made me spray his jeans black. So we got in the restaurant.
That's hilarious.
We got in the restaurant, but they had like these antique, like Queen Anne period chairs that had like tapestry cushions. And when we got up to leave, those were black. And the butts of our pants were jeans again. So we had to, like, back out.
That's amazing.
Kind of fast, but we got in. That's, you know. So there's a Belushi story.
That's an amazing. That's a fantastic. Looking down an alley and seeing Joe Walsh and John Belushi painting each other, spray painting each other's jeans.
And that really happened.
Yeah.
And Belushi just happened to have 2 cans of paint with him.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
Oh, you knew where there was some place that had, you know.
I love the part where he goes, "I'm not even hungry anymore. I just want to get. We get in there."
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not even hungry.
We're talking.
We're getting in that restaurant.